What's up, fellow procrastinators? I'm FlamecomMartian, and yes, I've got it, the Viltrox EF-M2. There's the beautiful glass inside that expands the field of view. Now, just a quick heads up, yes, university semester has resumed for me, so for the next 3 months I've got assignments and classes to go to, so my life has just become that little more hectic yet again. What else is new? But with that out of the way, let's get into the main topic of this video. A speed booster. What exactly is it? Well, to put into very simple layman's term, when you have a small sensor but you want to make that sensor bigger, hence getting wider field of view given the same focal length, then you would get these speed boosters. Light goes through there, through the front, and it passes through. This is a full frame lens, by the way, and then it'll come back out through the back of the lens, like so, and it'll cover the full frame sensor, which this lens was made for. But here I've got a micro four thirds sensor, so that projected image is gonna go over the entirety of the sensor. So the image that's projected outside of the physical dimensions of the small sensor is not going to be captured. Whereas a speed booster, that glass there, it takes the light coming out of the back of the sensor, then concentrates it to be able to fit 100% onto, well, almost 100%, but more of that projected light can fit onto the sensor. And so therefore that's how you get a wider field of view, but given the same focal length. Now, if you're wondering what the image quality coming out of the Viltrox EF-M2 looks like, well, here's the thing. My past few videos were shot entirely with the Viltrox EF-M2. My entire, what is it called? When sitting down, that was my first time playing around with this thing. And I gotta say, I'm liking the wider field of view. I have to say, in this one scene, I had the camera filming at 35mm and the aperture was at f1.2. More on that later. And I noticed that the image overall is just a bit softer. Now, some of you might not like that, you know, on a technical standpoint, but on a narrative standpoint, it looks cool. So I actually prefer that softer look that I had over there. Just differentiates itself from the cell phone look where everything is in focus. In the film industry, there is a thing where cinematographers are finding 4K to be way too sharp. And so they actually put filters in front that actually softens the skins, for example, so that you can't see every pores of an actor's face. Not so flattering. What a strange name, by the way, EF-M2. And yes, I said EF. This only takes full frame glass because the Canon cameras, the EFS, which are lenses made for crop bodies, they have the plastic extension at the end over there, which prevents users from actually putting these on full frame bodies. Alright, so quickly jumping over to the actual Panasonic G7 now, but with the smart adapter. Yeah, I am now at 18mm and I'm at the same distance that I was with my Canon 80D. Camera, me. I am pretty close to the camera. And there's the wall. Because of the 2x crop factor, 18mm gave me an equivalent field of view that a full frame camera would give me of 36. I always use this desk lamp and my Sony Bloggie as like frames of reference for how wide my frame is. So it's because of this extreme crop factor, I had to push the camera all the way back to the wall over there that you saw. And then, you know, I couldn't reach the focus ring because my arm just is not 2 meters long, and I would have to use the mobile app. At least the mobile app worked because yeah, it's a Metabones adapter, so the translation still works between lens and body, but more about that later. And now this is how I would look with the Viltrox on. It's pretty much the same field of view as my Canon 80D would given the same distance. And so now what I'm able to do is zoom in all the way to 24, and now I can look like this. Granted, 18 to 24, it's not a big difference in focal length, so the background's not any much more blurry. But yeah, holy crap, 1.2, I'm just like H3 white face. The speed booster has allowed me to get around 1.42, I can't remember, it's like 2 times 0.71, which is even wider than the 1.6 that Canon APS-C, and even wider than 1.5 from other APS-C like Nikon and Fuji. Even then, I am still within the APS-C/Super 35 ballpark for crop factor. Before, my sensor looked like this small. But now, with the Viltrox EF-M2, it practically just enlarges the sensor as well. So here's the cool advantage of getting a wider field of view. Because of getting a wider field of view, I can move the camera closer to the subject, or I can zoom in closer to the subject, both of which are contributing factors to making my shallow depth of field thinner, aka shallower. And a thinner depth of field equals blurrier backgrounds and bokeh-licious looks. Now let's get back to an earlier point that I made, which is about the magnifying effect. Because the light is more concentrated now, the intensity of light is, well, increased. Therefore, the brightness actually goes up. And the manufacturers have actually done a very smart job of giving you the f-stop numbers, which gives a very good calculation of the increase in stops of light. Now, of course, a Speedbooster can't physically increase the aperture, how much bigger the aperture rings can go. My Sigma 18-35 maximum aperture is f1.8, but on the camera, it gives me the numbers of f1.2 to account for that increase in the stops of light. So yeah, that's a plus side. But here is where the issues start to arise. This Viltrox EF-M2 is not 100% compatible with my Panasonic G7. ISO settings, shutter speed, aperture, all those controls are working fine. Just the autofocus readings are completely off. As in, they just stuck in the one place and just doesn't move at all between the mountain and the flower. Oh. Anytime I try to autofocus, it just crashes. It either says lens attachment failed, or when I try to manually shift focus one by one, that doesn't work. Now it's stuck like this forever until I touch the camera again. I just have to press like a shutter button or press the exit button, and now the phone goes back to normal. So if I'm far away from the camera and I'm a one-man band, i.e. no one else is able to help me focus, then I'd have to set up like maybe a prop, you know, to where I'd be standing or sitting and then set focus that way. Oh, and yeah, coming into this, I was aware that tons and tons of people had issue with the infinity focus just not working at all. I.e. on the lens, you can set the focus to infinity, but then this just wouldn't recognize it. The solution that people found was actually to take this glass and then you had to physically like rotate it clockwise. What speed booster makes you do that? This one does. And then afterwards, it's just trial and error, seeing if the infinity focus, when it's on the line, was actually at infinity. Oh yeah, and the focus gauge that the camera gives you, you know, the information, it's just inaccurate. So just you just have to eyeball it. But it's like I can get around that because for this price, I'm getting what I paid for. This is what, a third of the price of the Metabones. Throw up the prices here and there in US value. And if I had a GH5, then people are saying that the Viltrox just works fine. But yeah, I have a G7, so there's translation issues, but physically still works. Otherwise, the build quality is alright. Metal and metal mounts. Just two things. The lens release is just really big, and it's like way too close to the body's lens release. You have to squeeze your finger in order to get the adapter off. And the second thing is the box is really hard to open, as you saw in the unboxing. So yeah, great adapter, great opportunities that it affords me. It's only meant to be compatible with like GH5 and GH5S, and hopefully the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. But with that said, hope you like this impression/review sort of video. I'm hoping to do more of these in my never-ending gear acquisition syndrome. That's the end of the video. You have reached the end. Congratulations. Thanks for watching, and keep on procrastinating. So see ya. Back to uni work and shooting some B-rolls.